Well, consider me surprised. Hi everyone, how are we all doing? Something that I completely forgot to talk about recently. One of my YouTube buddies and Instagram followers, me Mancubus or Pepper Crab, hello mate. Uh, I saw on their story a while back that Pink Flamingos was going to be getting a Blu-ray release for it the very first time because, well, it's probably one of John Waters' most controversial films he's ever released. I think he's always been the one sort of pushed the boundaries of perversion and bad taste, as it rightfully says here. But I think this is the one that his is disgusting magnum opus. I think especially with when you look at someone like John Waters, who's very very clever and articulate, and is able to challenge problems with such ridiculousness in a very charming and fun way. This is definitely the cream of the crop when it comes to how should I put it, disgusting gross out cinema, I think. And it's quite amazing to actually finally be able to purchase it on Blu-ray. I have the DVD version down there, the uncut version, which is a bit grim in places, with well, obviously it mentions here the ending. If you've never seen the ending, it involves a dog, it's plops. Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, it's great. But what worries me, or not worries me, but will they be cutting bits out for for the British audience? I mean, it was released over here, I believe to some extent. I mean, it was cut by the BBFC, I think, but you can still buy this film. You can buy it uncut, which is perfectly fine. So that's one little thing I was worried about, but I don't think they will because they mention everything in here, well, very very subtly. So I think people who don't like censorship, you're going to be fine with that. But yeah, it was quite a shock, really. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be picking this up when it comes out. I'm not too big of a fan of this price tag, but it's Criterion. They do release films quite expensively. So what they got on the director's approved stuff then, special features and that. Okay, 2 audio commentaries featuring Waters from 97 and Criterion Laserdisc in the 2001 DVD release. Okay, fair enough. New 4K restoration with uncompressed monorail. Uncompressed monorail soundtrack, nice. Pink Flamingos is notorious for using magnetic tape. So how I don't know how this worked, but I guess in the 70s, whenever they were shooting, I guess, oh god, what was it? Like TV, for TV, news stations and that. They had to basically hire out news anchor equipment to film this film, and the audio hasn't really survived that well. You can hear it's a bit warped and everything, but it does the job, and it's one of John Waters' earlier films. I think this really, he really went all out on this film. It's one of his most disgusting films, I believe, and I think obviously they had that same sort of theme, with female trouble, polyester, a dirty shame. I think that's what it's called with Johnny Knoxville. They're all they all tackle sort of taboo and weird subjects, but I think they get technically better. They're much more clever. But this is very interesting. But what an interesting selection, really. I think it's it's infamous, this film. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It's absolutely ridiculous and at times a bit too far, I think. With there's one scene in particular that I don't really think is a selling point, but one of the psychopathic siblings called Cracker, he lives in an outhouse with some chickens, and he goes on a date with a girl, and they go back. He tries to have sex with her, but he tries to get a chicken involved, and the chicken, I think, is like nearly half dead. That was all real and simulated, and the idea of the Marble family kidnapping a woman to impregnate them and sell their babies to lesbian couples. Yeah, that's quite a grim scene. A lot of full front nudity there, but also the infamous dog shit eating scene by Divine, which is all insinuated and is quite disgusting. Yeah. So yeah, this should be definitely interesting.